The United States pauses green cards for Jamaicans. Welcome to episode 140 of The Unequal Perspective. I'm Sarah, joined by Matt, and also Rich, who is managing the soundboard. Today, we are really getting into a sudden, pretty massive shift in U.S. immigration policy, one that sent these real ripples of panic and uncertainty across the Caribbean. It's specifically impacting Jamaican applicants, but also dozens of other nations.
Yeah, and our mission today is really straightforward. We just need to cut through all the noise and provide some absolute clarity on what's technically happening.
Yeah.
What does this pause actually mean right now for people?
Right. Who's affected, who isn't.
Exactly. We're trying to separate the political headline from, the practical reality on the ground.
And to do that, we've grounded this analysis in two key sources. This discussion is informed according to the U.S. Department of State and the Jamaica Observer.
The announcement itself was, it was a global shockwave. We're talking about a pause on applications from 75 countries.
75. It's huge. For those of you just tuning in, you have to understand, the U.S. government didn't just quietly slow things down. They issued this sweeping announcement. And the official language they used to justify it was, well, incredibly aggressive. So what is the administration saying is the core reasoning behind this?
They did not mince words. If we unpack the political framing first, the Trump administration's stated reason for this immediate sweeping pause is that they are, and this is a quote, bringing an end to the abuse of America's immigration system by those who would extract wealth from America's people.
Extract wealth. Wow. That language immediately frames immigrants as what? A financial drain, not a familial or economic asset?
Precisely. And if you look past the rhetoric, you see the actual mechanism they're targeting. The core policy justification, it rests on a reassessment of processing procedures tied directly to this concept of public charge.
That's a key term, a really key technical term our listeners need to understand.
Absolutely. The public charge rule, it allows the government to deny green cards to foreign nationals who they think are likely to need public assistance.
Like welfare benefits, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Or state-funded health care.
Yeah.
So the pause is framed as this necessary review to stop people entering who might become a financial burden. It's essentially tightening the screws on who they consider economically, self-sufficient.
And while we're centering on Jamaica here, the scope of this is just massive. It's regional. It affects almost every corner of the Caribbean.
It does.
The list includes Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Cuba, Dominica, Grenada, Haiti.
St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines.
All of them right alongside Jamaica. It's a total regional freeze.
And what creates the most stress here, I think, is the deliberate uncertainty, the profound uncertainty they've injected into this system.
How so?
Well, the Department of State announced the policy, the reason, the countries. But they didn't give a single concrete detail about how long this review process would last.
So everyone is just left hanging.
Millions of applicants and their U.S.-based families are just. They're in an indefinite holding pattern. And that is the worst kind of policy limbo for planning your life.
That indefinite waiting period, that's what really highlights how destabilizing this is for a country like Jamaica. The U.S. is, it's overwhelmingly the main destination of choice for Jamaican migrants.
It is.
So we're talking about the main pathway for reuniting families and for, life-changing opportunity just being frozen.
And when you look at the raw statistics, you see why it's such a shock to the system. The Planning Institute of Jamaica, the PIOJ, they provide really clear data.
Okay, yeah, let's get those numbers out there. They really put this reliance in context.
So over the 11-year period between 2013 and 2022, the average annual migration was 16,911 Jamaicans moving to the U.S.
Almost 17,000 people a year. That's like a small town moving every single year.
Exactly. A consistent, powerful stream. And migration had actually started ticking up again recently. Yeah. In 2022, it was 16,482. That was a 23.4% increase compared to the year before, in 2021.
So the trend was going up.
It was. Now, we've seen fluctuations. It peaked back in 2016 at over 23,000, and it hit a low during COVID in 2020, but even then it was still over 12,000.
Yeah.
This is not a marginal thing. It's a foundational current in their society.
And to really understand the immediate pain of this pause, we have to look at the process itself. It's largely family-based, right? The petition for alien relative.
Yes.
But people don't just go to the back of one single line. The wait time depends entirely on their relationship category.
That is the critical distinction. And the process is already painfully slow. You basically have two main buckets. The first is immediate relatives, spouses, minor children, and parents of adult U.S. citizens.
Okay, so the closest family.
Right. And historically, those categories don't have strict annual limits, so the wait is often just the processing time, maybe 12 to 18 months.
But this pause, it hits the second bucket the hardest, and that's where the vast majority of Jamaicans applying fall.
Precisely. Those are the family preference categories. So adult children of U.S. citizens, siblings of U.S. citizens, and relatives of green card holders. Because Congress sets these strict annual caps on them, a waiting list develops, and that list moves at a glacial pace.
How slow are we talking?
Depending on the category, these filing times already vary drastically, from maybe 3 years up to the 10 years or even more that we often hear about.
Just think about that. Planning your entire adult life around a decade-long wait, only for that queue to suddenly pause indefinitely. That kind of uncertainty is financially and emotionally just devastating.
Which brings us right to the reaction from the diaspora leadership. Many of them have been watching the political winds for years. The general sentiment from figures like Attorney Wayne Golding, Dr. Rupert Francis, or Erwin Clare Sr.
What did I say?
Was that this policy change has come as no surprise. They saw it coming, given the administration's trajectory.
And this is where the specific legal analysis becomes vital for anyone listening who's in that queue. Attorney Wayne Golding, he didn't treat this like a temporary hiccup. He called it a possible revamp of the entire system.
And he's flatly predicting a significant waiting period.
Which leads to his advice.
Yes, and this is maybe the single most critical, actionable piece of advice for you right now. Because the future is so unpredictable, Golding explicitly warned people filing to stop making major life changes. He said, and I'm quoting, "People should not seek to change their lifestyles by selling their houses or discontinuing going to school, for example."
That is a stark warning. Don't upend your life for a green card that may not arrive for years, if ever. It forces people to choose. Do I stay put and wait, or do I just assume this path is closed and rebuild my life somewhere else?
It's a brutal choice.
Yeah.
And if we look deeper at the administration's goals, we see this clear message about the type of immigrant they want. Golding noted that part of the rationale is for the U.S. to seek those who can contribute to the growth of the country. This is the pivot away from family reunification toward, economic utility.
So instead of prioritizing a U.S. citizen's sibling who's waited 10 years, they'd rather pull in a highly skilled worker who can immediately fill a job.
Exactly. And diaspora advocate Erwin Clare Sr. reinforced this. He suggested the U.S. is looking to welcome people with requisite skills. And he specifically mentions high-demand fields like our doctors and nurses.
The implication for Jamaica there is huge. If the U.S. starts fast-tracking skilled labor while stalling family visas, Jamaica could face an accelerated brain drain.
A huge brain drain in crucial sectors like healthcare. And Claire also voiced the frustration of the people now caught in the crossfire, those who've already spent so much money and time on applications, only to be left in limbo.
All that investment is just gone, or at least on hold.
For an indeterminate amount of time. And that's why Golding's other strong caution is so vital. He urged Jamaicans to seek reputable immigration attorneys in all matters. He's warning that too many people follow false advice from non-lawyers, which can endanger their whole application, especially now.
Okay, so let's pivot to the official word from Jamaica. From Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith. She provides this necessary lifeline of clarity.
Yes, she officially confirmed the pause.
But she also clarified who is not affected.
And this is the crucial point. The pause relates to immigrant visas only. These are the green cards, the visas that let people live permanently in the U.S. If you are seeking to immigrate permanently, your application path is stalled.
So the good news, if there is any, is that the bulk of day-to-day U.S.-Jamaica travel and business seems to be unaffected. What is still being processed?
What's not affected are the non-immigrant visas. Minister Johnson-Smith confirmed that. So, regular tourist visas, student visas, business visas, and importantly, visas that are part of the seasonal work programs.
Like farm work and hospitality.
Right. All of that continues to be processed by the U.S. Embassy in Kingston. If you're applying for a temporary stay or seasonal work, this pause does not apply to you.
But the concern about future policies remains high. Erwin Clare Sr. raised another potential hurdle, one that could target that very group, the non-immigrant visitor.
He did. He warned about the possibility of being subjected to these punitive visa fee bond requirements for just a standard visitor's visa.
A bond? What does that mean?
This possibility raises a huge red flag, and it's not just theoretical. It's a policy that's already in place for some neighboring countries.
Okay.
Right now, 4 Caribbean countries, Haiti, Dominica, Cuba, and Antigua and Barbuda, already require applicants to pay a refundable bond of up to $15,000 US.
$15,000 just to visit family or for a holiday? That is an extraordinary financial burden.
It is. It effectively serves as this massive financial barrier for ordinary people. The bond is meant to ensure you return home and don't overstay the visa.
So if they extended this to Jamaican visitors' visa applicants,
it would immediately disqualify a vast number of citizens, regardless of their intent. It's a policy designed to cut down compliance risk by just raising the financial penalty for everyone up front.
that shift from halting permanent immigration to putting a potential $15,000 price tag on a simple visit is a huge escalation.
And what's fascinating is that the logic behind this potential bond, it aligns perfectly with the public charge logic for the green card pause. Both are designed to prevent the U.S. from incurring any risk or cost associated with foreign nationals.
So what does this all mean for you trying to follow this incredibly fluid story? The key takeaways have to be about clarity and caution.
Definitely.
The pause is real, it's indefinite, and the target is immigrant visas, permanent resident cards. Non-immigrant visas, like for tourism or seasonal work, are still being processed for now.
But the political push, it signals a major ideological shift. It's moving away from family reunification as the cornerstone of policy. The administration has made it abundantly clear they are seeking those who can contribute to the growth of the country, first and foremost.
And that historical data you shared, those 16 to 23,000 migrants a year, they've traditionally been processed through family petitions. The exact category is now being stalled.
Exactly. So consider this final thought as you mull this over in the weeks ahead. If the U.S. government successfully implements a policy that fundamentally prioritizes, say, doctors and engineers over existing family ties, over those 10-year waiting lists, how might the very composition of Jamaican migration to the U.S. shift in the next decade? And what broader dual impact will that have on the U.S. labor market? Sure, but crucially on the economic stability of Jamaica if its skilled labor pool is just accelerated out of the country while that traditional broader family path is stalled indefinitely. It's a powerful push-pull dynamic we have to watch very closely.
A profound question, with consequences felt on both sides of that migration pathway. Thank you for helping us sort through the facts and provide that crucial clarity on this matter.